Dear daughters, we want so much for you. We want you to grow up proud and strong in an America that believes in you, believes in your worth, believes in your potential to be whomever you want to be. Free of name calling.
Crazy Nancy. She was nastier than even Pocahontas.
That fat, ugly face of hers.
Free of body shaming.
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
Free of bullying.
That's okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
That's a recent spot from the Lincoln Project. It's a group we talk about quite a bit on this program. They're big-name Republican strategists and campaign veterans who've banded together to support Joe Biden this time around. That as the Trump campaign tries to attract female voters, especially by scaring suburban women into voting for them by consistently saying things like this.
So you have this beautiful community in the suburbs, including women, right? Women, they want security. I ended where they build low-income housing project right in the middle of your neighborhood. I ended it. If Biden gets in, he already said it's going to go at a much higher rate than ever before. And you know who's going to be in charge of it? Cory Booker.
Now, despite his history of insulting women and the allegations of sexual misconduct against him, Trump, he did well with the female electorate in 2016. He even beat Hillary Clinton by 15 points with white women, even though Hillary was the first female nominee from a major party in U.S. history. But Clinton, she did manage to win the overall female vote because more than 9 in 10 women of color pulled a lever for her. And as a couple weeks ago, right before the conventions, 2 separate polls, including one from Fox, showed that Biden holds a double-digit lead over Trump amongst the female electorate. Let's bring in our guest, Rina Shah. She with the Lincoln Project and also founder of Republican Women for Biden. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes today. And, you know, I love how everybody talks about the female electorate like it's some object here. The president says, you know, you got to protect women. They're looking for security. What really is the issues you've found that's going to drive the electorate, particularly women on the conservative side or even people conflicted today?
The economy, national security, and in general, how we are going to really see ourselves out of this public health crisis that we are in. We should not downplay that part as well. Women are the pillars of communities. We are the ones tasked with homeschooling overwhelmingly. And this is the hard part about this election. How do we get the message out about Donald Trump more differently than we did last time with conservative women? I think the Lincoln Project has done an incredible job of that. And so I was proud to join the leadership team of their Women's Coalition.
You know, I was wrong about a lot of things in 2016, and certainly I have a lot of company in that, but I assumed, Rina, obviously wrongly, that once that Access Hollywood tape came out and how gross it was, that it was going to be next to impossible for the president to get a huge chunk of the female electorate. And I went through the numbers in the breakout after all, but I was wrong. A lot of women either held their nose and looked the other way or didn't put a lot of value in it or whatever else. But wow, how do you think things are different then and now? Do you think some of the fears that people had have been realized since then? Or do you think anybody who pulled the lever for him 4 years ago after hearing that tape would do it again?
In 2016, what we had was a challenge of 2 bad choices, in my opinion. And I did not vote for Donald Trump and I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I felt that what we had on the ballot were 2 extremes. I didn't think Hillary Clinton was particularly fit for office. I won't say it was because of her emails, not in the least bit. That did not bother me. The bigger part was I thought she was sort of following up on a political dynasty. I didn't like Bill Clinton as a president. I didn't think she would be particularly different just because she was a woman. I don't believe in voting for a woman simply because she's a woman. But I do think women offer something very different. And in these 4 years, I've worked incredibly hard to get more women elected to public office across the country and across the political spectrum, because we do have a dearth. We do not have enough women at all levels of U.S. government. And until we reach a critical mass, the bad ones cannot filter themselves out. But back to this president, and like you said, there was a sense that perhaps people would see it for what it was after the Access Hollywood tape, that this is actually a person who is a misogynist, somebody who has a problem with women, who is a sexist, despite what his campaign tried to tell us last week, and how he's supposedly hired all these women in positions of power within the Trump organization. None of that, to me, makes up for the fact that this is a person that cheated on 2 of his former wives and let the tabloids know about it. This is somebody that sees women as an object.
I mentioned earlier how wrong I and certainly some of the polls got it coming in to the election nearly 4 years ago. I'm hearing two different schools of thought. One is, hey, listen, the polls pretty similar to where we were 4 years ago, that Hillary had a comfortable lead. You can't throw a blanket over them, but we certainly see parallels. But where people wouldn't admit 4 years ago when they were being polled that they would vote for Trump, or wouldn't say it in mixed company, but when the curtain closed, actually pull the lever for Trump, there might be the opposite thing going on right now. You know better than I that some Republicans don't want an argument with their conservative friends, but won't give this guy 4 more years and might vote differently than they'll say in mixed company. What are you hearing anecdotally from a lot of your Republican friends as to the decision now rather than 4 years ago, and if they'll do the same thing they did then or actually go in a different direction?
So what I hear from a lot of voters is, what's another 4 years? What we are tasked with, those of us who've been sounding the alarm about this president for a long time, is letting these people know that another 4 years wouldn't just continue to erode the pillars that this country is founded upon, but it would largely topple them. At places like the Department of Justice, we see things happening every day. If you're paying attention, you would know that he has installed his people everywhere. And this is, of course, what presidents do. But he's installed people who are bad actors, who are up to nefarious things, and who are undermining the way our laws and regulations have created this country to be. And so we should be scared. We should be alarmed about another 4 years. And so what I worry about is the voter who goes into the voting booth and says, everything seems okay today, I'll click for Donald Trump again because what's another 4 years? And I'm also worried about people saying things are awful right now, I don't want to change the guard. And especially those people, I say, put this country back in capable hands. It was the Obama-Biden team that gave the Trump administration this gift of a beautiful, wonderful economy that they were gifted with on day one. And so we need to get back to that. We need to get back to sound policymaking, decency, and dignified governing.
Well, as they say, we are fast approaching November 3rd. Hey, I appreciate the time, Rina. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everyone. When we come back, we unveil a new segment. It's called The Lie of the Day. Yes, we have ample things to choose from. After the break, we're going to show you the topic that the president has lied about the most and also show you some of the most egregious examples.